Let's check in on the local market. Rhynardt Roodt, equity analyst at Investec Asset Management, is standing by from our Cape Town studios. Rhynardt, thanks for joining us today. So let's check in on the Minas Rio project in Brazil. So some guidance for the market finally on the size of the write-down that was being expected. But what do you make of the announcement today? I think $4.4 billion write-down there.
Well, look, it's a sizable number, so I suppose it can't be classified as like good news by any means, but I think what it does give the market a lot more certainty. You know, if you look at past guidance given by the company, they just said that, you know, they might have to impair the asset, and that's finally happened now. So they've pretty much written off almost half of the book value of Minas Rio, which is quite like an eye-watering amount, really. And if you look at the capex guidance that they now gave, last time when they spoke to the market, they pointed out that capex will be at least about $8 billion, and today they have confirmed they think it will be about $8.8 billion. So I think quite a few analysts did maybe expect a slightly worse number, hence the fairly solid stock performance. Also on the cash cost or the operating cost side of that project, that's also been revised higher from $25 a ton of iron ore to $30 a ton of iron ore. So again, also not a good outcome, but it does take away, I think, a lot of uncertainty, and I think quite a few people did expect maybe a slightly worse outcome. They are not out of the woods yet, though. You know, first ore delivery, they intend to kind of have that ready by the end of 2014. I think the timeline or that deadline is quite tight, and they could easily overrun again. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah.
Now, looking at Anglo American Platinum, interesting that at the start of the day we saw the stock trading lower, but by the end of the day it's up 1%, 444 Rand is where it closed. What from an investment perspective right now, how does the announcement yesterday that they're going to postpone the continuation of Section 189, that's a review period, to allow task teams to review, in fact, Anglo American's business strategy and restructuring plans, how does that affect the investment community and those specifically, of course, invested in Amplats?
Look, I think if you were an Amplats shareholder, I think you probably would have been quite disappointed by the announcement, because being a shareholder, you obviously would have had the view that that the company will be stronger after the review process, that they have to close their loss-making mines in order to make money again, and that it's absolutely necessary to retrench some of the workforce. So the announcement that the process has now been delayed by 2.5 months or 75 days, I think can't be viewed as a positive. I think it also begs the question whether the company will be able to do what they want to do or told shareholders that they would do. So I think on the margin, I think it's not great news, but you know, we'll have to see whether they follow through with their stated intentions or not. So what it does in the short term, though, sorry, you can ask.
No, continue there.
No, I just wanted to kind of say what I mean. The broader implications for platinum markets, I think, are also negative, because the mines that they wanted to shut, they now have to continue to operate. Metal will not be removed from the market. So if you were hoping for like a platinum supply and demand deficit, it does look like markets will again be oversupplied, at least during the first half of 2013.
Yeah, certainly is interesting. I asked Chris Griffiths about whether they would relook their plans if the task team found other ways in which they could cut costs, and he said basically, we understand our business quite well. We have been looking at the business for the last year, so they seem quite confident that what they had come up with was the best plan. But that's just how I interpreted his answer there. Let's just look at the comment he made about the increase in platinum price and whether that will change their plans. I'm just going to go to a clip of Chris Griffiths right now.
No, it doesn't change the picture at the moment. I mean, just you know, having a 1 month increase in platinum price doesn't mean that the fundamentals in the platinum price of supply and demand and of the profitability of these shafts have changed. So if there were fundamental changes to the to the underlying dynamics that had now sustainably changed the trajectory of price, then that would be a different thing. But there's nothing that is showing us other than there's concern from some suppliers, and they would be trying to buy at a lower price and perhaps stockpiling material. This year we're anticipating not to have, of course, in the industry the same kind of losses that we had last year, so you're expecting to see additional supply come back into the market this year. And if additional supply comes back into the normal market, then we're likely to see an oversupplied market again. So I don't think a very short-term increase in platinum price necessarily has changed. There's been fundamental changes that have sustainably increased platinum price.
I suppose that, Rhynhardt, just reiterating what you were saying about supply in the market and not being removed and the impact that that would have on the platinum price.
Yeah, look, I think it's quite hard to say in the short term. I think that, like Chris's words is 100% correct, really. You know, the platinum price needs to be substantially higher before I think it changes the long-term fundamentals of those shafts that they do want to shut. If you look at the Rand platinum price where it stands now, and that is even with a rally in the dollar price of platinum the last couple of weeks and a much weaker Rand, by our estimates the company is still not making like a lot of money because the cost base still is just so high. So they have to reduce costs, and I think they have to see the platinum price sustainably higher for quite some time before they will change their mind.
Yeah. Now, Aquarius Platinum also came out with their production figures, and the stock slipped back today to just over 9 Rand. Seems that disappointing outlook there given. What are your thoughts on the prospects for that platinum miner?
Yeah, look, it's quite I think it's quite an interesting one because I think it is in fact quite a binary outcome. I think the company will either do extremely well for shareholders because it's not expensive, it's underperformed significantly, so it's certainly cheap. One can make a value case for it, but I think the future is quite unclear. I think if they manage to weather the storm, you know, the share price will do phenomenally well. So if you look at this set of numbers, you know, they still say, you know, that operating conditions are quite tough, but there are signs that perhaps the company has turned the corner. If you look at their Kroondal operation, which is their key mine that they operate, unit costs are down. They are speaking about better working relationships, better employee morale, etc. And their production on a quarter-on-quarter basis stopped going backwards. In fact, it went up by about 2%. So I thought it was quite a decent set of numbers. The share's done quite well the last couple of weeks. It's up a lot still this month well to date. But you know, the future still remains quite uncertain because it's still a very marginal operator even at this Rand platinum price.